Just have record. Why cutting on the basis? That was just speculating.
How did she get to home to our legislature? She's on the website, not on the legislature. It was on the website. She was here. I mean, she was on in the agenda. How do you get back to like? Oh, there it is. Well, there you have it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular scheduled meeting of the City of Griffin Board of Commissioners, February 22, 2022. We're going to begin by the pledge being led by Commissioner David Brock, followed by invocation by Commissioner Truman Tinsley III. Please join us.
Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we're here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in the performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions very just for the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you. First time is to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Mrs. Murray with the motion, second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Moving into presentations and delegations. Recognize the induction of Janet Herman Bragg into the Georgia Aviation Hall of Fame. Archivist Cindy Barton will address. Welcome, Ms. Cindy.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's my honor to announce during Black History Month that this year a Griffin native, Janet Herman Bragg, will be inducted into the Georgia Aviation Hall of Fame. The ticketed event will be held at the Griffin Airport on April 30th. Janet Herman Bragg was born in Griffin on March 24th, 1907, and grew up on South 9th Street in a house built by her grandfather on land he purchased in the 1870s that the Harmon estate still owns. One of 7 children, she was educated in Griffin at Broadway Public School, Residential High School in Fort Valley, and attended Spelman Seminary for nurses training. She worked in Griffin as a registered nurse before moving north to the state of Illinois during the Great Depression. She eventually settled in Chicago. Janet worked as a visiting nurse, opened and operated nursing homes, and became a civic volunteer. In 1933, she learned to fly and earned her private pilot's license. But she set her sights higher. In 1943, despite repeatedly being denied opportunities in licensure not based on her lack of education, skills, or ability, but because of her gender and race, she became the first African-American woman to earn a commercial pilot's license. Mrs. Bragg remained a licensed pilot for 35 years and logged over 2,000 flying hours. During her career as a general aviation pilot, she was active in the promotion of African-American aeronautical education training programs at historically Black colleges and in the U.S. Army Air Corps. Mrs. Bragg passed away in 1993 at the age of 86. The Georgia Aviation Hall of Fame was established in 1989 to honor those in the industry who have made significant contributions to the field of aviation. The Hall of Fame is housed within the Museum of Aviation at Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins. It is the 2nd largest museum in the United States Air Force and the 4th most visited museum in the Department of Defense. Entry into the Hall of Fame is a challenging and effortful process. Potential inductees must be nominated by essay, and the list of achievements is vetted by committee. Every year, many nominations are received, but only 10 are chosen to be presented for public vote. Of those 10 candidates, only the top earning 3 will be inducted at the annual ceremony. This year, Janet Harmon Bragg received the most votes of any other candidate. The City of Griffin has honored Janet Harmon Bragg with a mural near the intersection of Solomon and 8th Streets. She has also been honored by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Federal Aviation Administration, and is considered one of the 100 most influential women in aviation and aerospace industry. On April 30th, she will be honored as a Georgia, and more specifically, a native Griffin, Georgia, aviation grade. Thank you.
Cindy, thank you so much for your efforts in this, and it's such an honor and to recognize one of our own.
Yes,
And, thank you so
absolutely.
much for that work and the other work that you've performed on behalf of the City of Griffin and Spalding County. Your blessing.
It is my pleasure. Thank you. This is Janet. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving into citizens' comments. At this time, the mayor opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for a public hearing or to concern the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The mayor reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for resolution. With that being said, is there anybody on my left side who'd like to come before the board? Is there anybody on my right side? Yes, sir. If you'd please come forward to the podium, sir. You can state your name and address for the record. Welcome.
Good evening, ma'am. David Smith, 272 Clark Road in Griffin.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I have 3 topics I'd like to discuss very briefly. First 2 will be very briefly, and the third a little bit longer winded, and I promise that I will do my best to do what I don't do well, and that's be brief.
Yes, sir.
First topic is this young lady over here, Ms. Connor. I was a member, I've met the mayor and a couple of you council persons already. I was a member of the City College that just concluded about 3-4 weeks ago. And I would have gotten here a little bit sooner to address you all. Had some health issues that kind of slowed me down a bit. But I wanted to, in front of you all and for the public record, say what a spectacular job that the City College actually, I mean, it was just incredible the way it came out. To organize 12 weeks of meetings and discussions and training and such like that and have it come off so successfully is a credit to what she does. So I'd like to thank Jessica for what she did. Number 2, the City College itself. I can't emphasize enough that I feel that that is a very important function of what y'all do. That brings me here today. I wouldn't be here speaking with y'all if it wasn't for the City College and the education I got. Okay, it gave me the information, it gave me access to people. It got me involved. And I think it's important that the citizens in the community get involved in what's going on. And if they don't have the knowledge of how to get involved and that they can be involved, they don't do it. And I've spoken to several of my neighbors about the fact that I was taking that course and they looked at me like I was out of my mind. What are you doing? And I would explain to them what the purpose of it was and what I got out of it, and hopefully they'll get involved and possibly attend it. So I can't emphasize enough that it's something that deserves your funding, deserves your encouragement, and was a great thing for me, and I think would be a great thing for other members of the community. That being said, I guess you all can tell from the accent that I'm not a Griffiner. I wasn't born here. I wasn't born in the South. My wife wasn't either. We're both from New York. We lived most of our lives on Long Island. And about 8.5 years ago, decided that we're going to move. We both had excellent jobs. I was in a job that I had almost 30 years. I was director of operations and safety for a large trucking company. My wife was a manager of a small company that she was with over 30 years. And we decided one day we're going to move. And we gave up our jobs of almost 30 years and we moved south. didn't have jobs, bought a house in McDonough, and moved. We were in McDonough for 5 years, 5.5 years, and we left McDonough for Griffin. And the question you all should be asking yourselves is, why?
We know.
Okay, and I hope you do, and I truly hope you do, but I'm going to give you a couple of my points and then move on from there. So we were on Long Island for, my wife for almost 60 years, myself for 45 years. And it got to a point where the quality of life deteriorated to the point where you couldn't take it anymore. The house we sold to move down here, our property taxes were $24,600 on an 80 by 100 plot of land. So then the question is, why did we leave McDonough? So when we moved down here, we went from an 80 by 100 plot of land to an 1.5 acres in McDonough. I thought, we are living the life. An 1.5 acres. I didn't even know what an acre was before we moved down. So we had our 1.5 acres in McDonough. And I don't know if you're familiar with McDonough at all, but we were on the east side of 81, down towards Rockdale County, about 3 miles from South River. And when we moved there now 8 years ago, we thought we were out in the country. It was phenomenal. 1.5 acres, we had dogs running around. It was great. And in that 5 years, 5.5 years, McDonough turned into a disaster. And I see that shaking over there. For a short period of time, I worked up in Villa Rica. So from McDonough to Villa Rica was a pretty good drive. It took me longer to drive from my house in McDonough to 75 than it did to drive from 75 in McDonough to Villa Rica. The quality of life in McDonough deteriorated so much that we had to leave there. When we moved to McDonough, I swore, and my wife will tell you, I swore that's the house I'm dying in. Didn't happen. There is a stretch of road in McDonough where there are 5 traffic lights in an 1/8 of a mile. It takes you an hour to get through McDonough. If you go down to 75 and 155, it takes an hour to get through there. You drive down 42, you drive down 155, and all you see is the constant building of distribution centers. They can put up a 1 million square foot distribution center in 3 months. It's incredible. And they just keep building and building and building. There's no infrastructure to go along with it. Roads don't change. Nothing else changes, but they keep building and building and building till it gets to a point where you can't drive through. I will not go to McDonough anymore unless I have to, because of these issues. Here in Griffin, we've been here a short time, about 1 year and 3-4 months. We go across the street to Corner Cafe all the time. I could tell you the owner's name and 2 of the waiters and waitresses that take care of us. Griffith's up the road here. Owner Jeff just sold it to the owners of Kenny's Barbecue. We didn't know any of this in McDonough. We walk in there, they know our names, we know their names. This is quality of life. What you people have done here, you walk down the streets of Griffin, and what do you hear? You hear music. It is phenomenal. It makes walking down the city, down the streets of the city, a pleasure. And there are times where I'll stop and I'll just listen to the music because it's good music. I don't know who's picking it, but whoever it is, way to go. So what I'm trying to get across here is my passion, and I know Jessica will vouch for it because it's City College, same type of speech. Was anything that you're doing, you learn of people who make the decisions as to what goes on in the city. And I'm sure you agree all the decisions you make affect the surrounding areas. Now, I'm not in the city. Clark Road is not in the city. We're off a little bit, but it affects me. I drive through the city all the time. We spend our money here in the city of Griffin to encourage the growth of the city. But growth can't be at the expense of quality of life. everything that you do, I implore that before you do it, you put on the glasses of quality of life. So that when the decision is made, it's made with the thought of, I'm not hurting the quality of life, or I'm improving the quality of life. That will turn Griffin into the city that you're looking for it to be. People will want to come to Griffin. People will want to live in Griffin. We wanted to live in Griffin because I can drive down the road and not have to wait 4 or 5 traffic lights to get through. I can come into the town and the owner of Corner Cafe knows my name. These are the things that will make the home, the people who live here less transient. They'll want to live here. We want to live here. We've got a nice 7 acres down there. It makes me feel good at the end of the day. If people come to the city of Griffin knowing that the quality of life is going to be a high level and improving, they're going to want to stay. They're going to want to spend their money in the city of Griffin. All of these things will significantly help what you all are trying to accomplish. So with that, I'll say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Mrs. Smith, thank you for choosing Griffin. Again, this is citizens' comment. Is there anybody else that'd like to come before the board on my right? Last call. Moving into public hearings, we have one item tonight. Public hearings are conducted to allow public comment on specific advertised issues such as rezoning, ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the City Commission. Item 2 is receive comments regarding a variance request to allow a place of assembly on tract less than required 2-acre minimum for property located at 220 East Solomon Street. Principal Planner Michelle Haynes will address. Welcome. I thought we already had this.
Hey. Good evening.
Good evening.
For those of you who I have not officially met, I'm Michelle Haynes, the principal planner for the city. Before you this evening is a variance request for 220 East Solomon Street. Last month, the board actually approved the special use for a place of assembly at this location. There was a condition that the applicant must apply for a variance since the parcel was less than the 2-acre minimum that is found in Article 721F. So this parcel, it does have adequate parking and it does meet the street frontage requirements. So staff is recommending approval for the variance request to allow a place of assembly on a parcel that is less than the 2-acre requirement at 220 East Solomon Street. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from board members?
How much property is actually there?
So for that one section, it's only a 0.86. The whole block is less than 2 acres, so they still wouldn't, if they got all of that property, they still wouldn't meet the requirements.
So the question that I had was, and it goes with this, but maybe not specifically, is what is the rationale behind there being a 2-acre requirement for this particular type of variance?
So we've tried to do a little bit of research and we're not exactly sure
Okay,
what the requirement, why they decided to do that. We can do more research and see if we can come up with an answer for you.
well, and I mean, it's not necessarily, if you had the information, that would have been fine. I'm just wondering if there was some definitive reason that it needed to be that, or if it's just kind of an arbitrary, somebody decided at some point that would be appropriate.
Yeah, in our research, we've not found that yet.
Okay, and so then, yeah, I'm okay with it. I just wanted to make sure we weren't blatantly like, no, it has to be 2 acres because it needs to meet some level of infrastructure or something else, but this is just kind of somewhere somebody decided 2 acres was appropriate, and then we're now asking, okay, that's all.
And I think maybe to better clarify that, if y'all remember when the Unified Development Code was written, it was written by consultants that aren't local to Griffin. I think what probably happened is they picked 2 acres because that made sense to them at the time. Of course, the place of assembly generally is going to be a bigger place, and then you're going to need more parking because you're going to assemble people there. But as far as 2 acres, As long, to me, as long as the parking spaces meet the minimum requirements of the size of the building, and that's the size of the building that the church wants, I don't quite understand what it matters to us outside of that, which is why we're okay with this variance.
Okay, yeah, I think that was just kind of the angle in terms of what's the difference? They could have just as easily decided it needed to be 3 acres.
Right.
Okay, so there's not like some standing attached to it. Okay.
Not that we can find.
That's it.
Any other questions from board members?
I'm just trying to figure out exactly where it is.
That's manufacturing building across the various sporting goods and the old city hall site,
On the corner
Fifth
across
Fifth and Solomon.
is that the one that used to be the warehouse, club?
Used to be best manufacturing.
That's that in Rivington on that.
Remington has, was doing the off project.
Oh, and so, it's
Right here, not this light, the next light
right below the park.
across.
Across from the old city hall.
Okay, all right.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience like to come before the board for comments, questions? Anything else from the board? Thank you, Ms. Haynes.
Thank you.
Moving into the consent agenda, we have items 3 and 4. Have a motion to take the consent agenda as a whole. Mrs. Murray with a motion.
Second.
Second.
One question.
Is that a second by Ms. Ward?
Mhm.
Ms. Ward, question, go ahead, ma'am.
With the number 3, the upgrade, is this something that we anticipate? Is this like an annual thing, or is this just whenever they decide they make new stuff?
This is a one-time upgrade,
Okay,
but it won't be annual that we have to do this, but every 7 to 8 years when we cycle
Okay.
out.
okay, that's it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the consent agenda, please signal by raise your hand. 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Cotton. Moving into the regular agenda. Item 5, consider a variance request to allow place of assembly on track less than required 2-acre minimum for property located at 220 East Solomon Street. Some motion approved by Mr. Tinsley, second by Ms. Murray. All in favor, please signal by raise your hand. 6-0. Item 6, consider resolution authorizing Chief Technology Officer Gary Cotton, or his designee, to act as certifying officer for compliance with FCC rules and regulations pertaining to customer proprietary network information, and appointing Chris Sprayberry as designee authorized to act as certifying officer for the same. The motion to approve. Mrs. Murray with motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ward. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 7, consider the purchase of a 5/8" V5 R900 Neptune meters, antennas, and meter pins from Delta Municipal Supply, sole source in the amount of $134,500 for the Watershed Management Department. Motion to approve. Mrs. Ward with the motion, Mrs. Murray with the second. All in favor, please signal with your hand. 6-0. Item 8, consider a task order form to Variance Consulting Group for the update of the city water master plan in the amount of $40,000. We have a motion to approve. Mrs. Ward with the motion, second by Mrs. Murray. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0 on 8. Number 9, consider task order form for the design services bid administration for construction management for Potato Creek Sewer Rehabilitation located in section PC 2408 to Paragon Consulting Group in the amount of $39,800 for the Watershed Management Department. We have a motion to approve. Mrs. Ward with a motion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Murray. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 10 is consider on first reading ordinance amending chapter 22 buildings and building regulations by adding a new article to be numbered Article 8, vacant and foreclosed property of the Code of Griffin, Georgia, in order to provide for a vacant and foreclosed property registry. Motion by Ms. Ward, second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 11, consider a claim on behalf of a minor, Keen Lyons, by his parent and next of kin, Brandy Lyons, in the amount of $50,000 for alleged personal injury sustained while riding as a passenger on a school bus owned and operated by Griffin Small Town School System. We have a
Make a
motion,
motion to deny the claim.
we have a motion by Ms. Murray to deny. Do we have a second? Mr. Tinsley with a second to deny the claim. All in favor of denial, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 12, consider a claim on behalf of a minor, Ms. Tamaya Flakes, by her parents and next of kin, Elisa Flakes, in the amount of $50,000 for alleged personal injury sustained while riding as a passenger on a school bus owned and operated by the Griffin Spalding County School System.
Motion to deny.
Mrs. Murray with a motion to deny. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor of denial, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 13, consider a resolution accepting the resignation of Angela Burnham as Assistant Open Records Officer and appointing Felicia Trammell as Assistant Open Records Officer. This resolution does not impact the appointment of Susan Bartholomew as Assistant Open Records Officer or the appointment of Jessica Connor as Open Records Officer. Do we have a motion for this resolution?
Second.
Mr. Tinsley with a motion, Mrs. Ward with a second. All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 14, consider a resolution waiving MCI rate adopted for the 2022 and adopting annual rate adjustment for 2022 only of a 5% for rates charged for solid waste, stormwater, water, and sewer effective March 1, 2022. Mrs. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor of the 5% increase, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And that concludes the agenda. Open up for city manager report. Mrs. O'Connor.
A couple different things. I'll start with the sort of bad one first. I don't know if you've seen my email yet from earlier today, but there will be some work going on in the parking deck tomorrow in relation to the filming. So there will be some camo netting up on, I think, the south side of the parking deck, and there will be some spaces reserved at the top of the parking deck for the filming crew to make sure that they don't get any kind of background traffic, so we can keep Hill Street and Bank Street open as much as possible. So in case you come in, that's what that's about. Also, we were informed today that Parker Young has already started at the Imperial Theater wall. So they had their contractor come in and speak with me. Unfortunately, because of the 40-foot scaffolding that they will have to use, we will have to close access to that when they are not working. And there will be intermittent closures throughout the day depending on equipment being moved. But they can, the way he explained it, they can sort of do it like Home Depot, or they have somebody that can tell you can walk through now, or nope, stay out of here. So I've sent that notice to our tenants as well as to y'all, all of our employees, and I just realized I need to send it to the county.
And lucky.
Well, they actually went and spoke specifically to Ms. Kim at the Development Authority, as well as to Mr. Dutton and Madison Harding and everybody else in the Thacker building. So those got personal notifications, and I'll make sure the county is aware as well. Just so everyone knows, the Chamber's annual dinner is next Friday night at Barnstormer. So if you would like to go, I need to know that pretty much now. We normally don't do a table there, but if you'd like to, we can. I think they have a couple still available. I got an email from Ms. Jones last week asking about that. So if you want to go, let me know. If not, then we can look at that next year. Wanted to let you all know that we had a great breakfast, myself and Ms. Woods, with our land, air, water, and search group that helped search for the missing teenager in Upson County back last fall. They were awarded the Connector Award, which is our new sort of group award for the quarter. And so we had breakfast with them at Grits last Friday. I think that's really sort of a special thing to do to recognize a group of employees, and they were very appreciative of that. And also, last but certainly not least, we have a new annual safety winner for 2021. And much to Dr. Keller's dismay, we had to do some forensic accounting with Mr. Schwab. It was actually electric that won. We based it off number of employees and number of claims. So we had to do a whole entire ratio because it was so very close. I think it was less than 1% difference. So electric will get the trophy and the banner. And I think we're having some kind of luncheon for them soon, and I will let you know that date. So lots of exciting things going on, recognizing our employees for the good work that they do. So I wanted to pass that along to you all as well. And that's it.
Excellent. Mr. Whalen.
I have done.
Mr. Brock.
No comments, sir.
Mrs. Murray.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Mrs. Barton, thanks for what you do. It's great that what you're doing for local Griffin's citizen, I guess, to win such an award. What was the award again? I mean, I know she was the first pilot, but to be inducted
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Okay, that's incredible. So especially to give some love for our Griffin cast for the Hall of Famers. So thanks for everything that you do, and congratulations, Josh, on your new home, this new church. So glad to have you, and no further comments.
Ms. Flowers,
No comment.
Mrs. Ward,
No comment.
Mr. Tinsley.
Mr. Smith, I appreciate your comment. I understand about the traffic congestion in your former residence.
You're from up there?
No. And but I will warn you, going to Citizens Government Academy, I went to it for about 5 years. And
You never passed the test.
I never passed the test, but I got elected to see. So
Well, you know, I might consider joining you all someday.
I hope so. I hope so. So, thank you for your comments. Very kind.
Pleasure.
And Mr. and Ms. Smith, thank you for coming and sharing. It's a great program that we've done since, I guess, 2005, the Citizens Government Academy. And we encourage you to continue to spread the word. We consider you an ambassador for our community. Even the haters leave there loving Griffin when it's all said and done. So it's a great part. We also have the Police Academy and the Fire Academy.
Plan on it if physically able.
So when you get a chance to join us on that.
Okay.
And Josh, congratulations. And for those who don't know, Josh was re-elected by affirmation as the president of Griffin Downtown Council. So he's good to go for one more year, and a lot of great activities are being planned for this new year. Big Bash will be the June Jam in June. So that kicks off summer conference here.
And
So-
Mayor, one more thing, I'm
Yes,
so
ma'am.
sorry. Citizens Fire Academy, we are accepting applications now, and it starts next Thursday is the first night. So it's 8 weeks. If you want to join, please do. That one probably has the best food, although I can't tell PD or mine that.
Police Academy, trust me.
Correct.
Oh,
And thank you for this team for how hard we work together. Thank you
Is
so
that
much.
application, is that online?
I was just gonna ask that question.
It
It is online? Thank you.
Trivet is banned. We stopped having repeat attendees because they were a distraction, because they kept asking the same question every year. With that being said, we have a motion to adjourn. Ms. Murray with a motion to adjourn, second by Ms. Flowers. And thank you all. Have a great Griffin day.
Thank you.